All right, it is time for September TBR. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be my TBR for September 2022. I will admit this is going to be a bit loose. I have some things that I'm committed to, but a lot of these are sort of like possibilities if I get too hopeful, that kind of thing. But I did actually make a TBR. It's funny, I was going to film a TBR last week, and then I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to read. And I actually didn't really know what I was going to read until September 1st when I looked at what I had finished, and I looked back on it, and I reflected on it a bit, and then I was like, okay, and then I just wrote a list of what I wanted to read in September, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, that's enough to do a TBR. But I did have some things set aside that are sort of like the regular, I knew were happening, but everything else I was like, I don't know. So, but I did figure out enough to make a list. And I thought, well, if it's enough for a list, it's enough to make a video, and it's always fun to share. And as I said, a lot of these will be a little loose, but I felt like I have a feeling September is going to be a bit of a challenging month, and as such, I felt it would be helpful to have a list so that I don't need to think about it. If I'm like, I don't know what to read next, I can just go that. And I think there's sometimes that's helpful, and so I thought, let's go with that direction, decision, whatever. Sometimes I get decision fatigue, so for me, it's really nice to have a list for those times when you have decision fatigue, because you just look on the list and you just follow it. I've already made the decision. I know I want to do these things. So when I don't have energy to decide, it's better to have choose from these 3, 5, 13 as opposed to anything. So anyway, so that's one of the other reasons I ended up realizing having a list was helpful. Anyway, let's get to the actual books because I rambled for 2 minutes. My goodness. Okay, so this will probably come as no surprise. I am going to read the next Ibsen play, and the next one for me to read is John Gabriel Borkman. So this is the second last title I need to read in reading all of the plays of Ibsen. I'm almost there. I took some of the summer off for library reading. I'm back to reading it. I did like Little Eof, which I read in August. I would love to find a production of it though, because there was definitely some character dynamics that I wanted to sort of see, because I'm like, you could play that different ways. But yeah, so this one, sometimes the pictures have almost nothing to do with the play, but this actually looks it looks very dramatic, and it's got a heart with arrows in it. So often his plays are family dramas with socio-political commentary and perspectives. Not always, and then sometimes there's some folklore in there as well. Not always. I have no idea. This one's probably about a person because it's a whole name there. So we'll see how things go. Oh wow, it does kind of, now I see that that's a heart. I didn't notice that was a heart before. All right, probably in for some some of this. We'll see. Anyway, so I'm gonna read that. Another tried, tested, and true companion is Les Misérables by Victor Hugo. This one I am aiming for 100 pages a month or 25 pages a week. I have 200 pages left, so by the end of September, I'm hoping to have just about 100 pages to go and to finish it in October. So that's the plan. I'm in the last section. I actually have both the front and the back with these two, but it's only 2 out of the 5 volumes. It's a lot. And the next book for buddy reading, A Series of Unfortunate Events with Izzy and Kate Kelly, is book number 11, which is The Grim Grotto by Lemony Snicket, illustrated by Brent Helquist. Oh my gosh, I have a secondhand copy, and someone named Adam owned this. Helquist is the illustrator. So looking forward to this one. I actually am really looking forward to this one. I like this one a lot. I really also enjoyed the previous book, The Slippery Slope, and that was a great reread. So this is another, and we're into the 300 pages though with these. 325, which I think actually is a little less than The Slippery Slope. So anyway, yeah, So I've been really enjoying this. We're getting there. 11 out of 13 books. Things are going well. And then I was thrilled to see that my hold came in for Soul Taken by Patricia Briggs. This is the 13th book in the Mercy Thompson series. This just was recently released in August, I believe. I did recommend it to my library. I use the recommend function because that bumps you up the list, or it makes you go onto the waiting list before the book has been purchased. And if no one else has recommended it, you usually end up being first in line. This one, I wasn't first in line. It's a very popular series. It's the 13th book. But I did get it within sort of 2 weeks of release, so that still is great. But it does mean that I do have to read it within that window, and I think I only have 2 weeks. So I got to get started on this. I probably will start it right away, like the day I'm filming this video, and because I want to finish it by the time that it expires. Otherwise, who knows how long the holds for new release in series I find take a long time. I could, of course, also buy it. I mean, I've been reading the series for years. I have bought a couple throughout the series. It's an urban fantasy series. I can't say anything because it's the 13th book, but it's an urban fantasy series, and it's, I think, the only long-standing series that I'm actually up to date, and so I want to stay up to date. That's one of my goals this year was in particular to read that one in sort of like a timely manner. So fingers crossed that happens. Wish me luck. I also did get back to My Soul to Keep by Tenerife Dew. This is about immortals. It's also an urban fantasy series. I did pick this up at the end of August and read and finished the section that I was on. So I now have 200 pages, less than 200 pages for this to go. So I do hope to finish it in September, but I am going to prioritize the Mercy Thompson book because it's a library book. So I'll probably read My Soul Taken at the beginning of the month, the first 2 weeks, and then switch over to My Soul to Keep, and hopefully finish it by the end of September, so that in October I am one less of my older books. This one I started actually 2 years ago, October, so it's been quite a while. I have about 6 titles that I want to finish by the end of the year that I brought with me from last year to this year. I've been working on this project all year. Les Mis is another of them. And so I thought I would, pick one a month or whatever. I've tried different things throughout the year, but less than 200 pages. I think I am going to make it for that one. What do we have next? I'm not sure. Oh, my notes. I also hoping to finish this one, I'm sure I will finish, is A Big Surprise for Valentine's Day by Jackie Lau. This is the 4th in the Holiday with the Wong series. I have been reading the series all year and really enjoying it. Actually, I think I read the first one last year. So it's the 4th in a series, and I did want to finish it in August, I will admit. I only have about 60 pages left, so I should finish this one. I imagine I will finish this one, and it's been really good. It's very spicy. So I am enjoying that. And then I also, in terms of the older books that I'm getting back to, I have also restarted True Grit. Gotten back to True Grit. I'm about halfway through. It's a Western, and I started it before the May edition of the Currently Reading Challenge this year, and it did come up, but I didn't finish it because I thought it would be very swift finish at some other point. And I think that will be the case. So I am back to reading this one. Yay! What else do we got? I have 2 series, 3 actually. Okay, I'm working through the books that are the oldest books on my Goodreads TBR, which is something that I do, I've been doing for the past several years. And each year I add another oldest year to it. The first year I did it, I just did the books that I added the first day of Goodreads. The second year I added all of the books the first year of Goodreads. The third year I added all of the next, it's hard to explain it. I'm not the best at explaining time math or understanding time math, but basically what I consider anything that's the oldest on my Goodreads TBR is anything that's been there for 10 years or more. So it's a long time. I'm not doing great on this project, I will admit, but there are a couple of series where I need to reread the first book in the series or the first 2 books in the series to complete the series, because the book on my TBR is a later in series title. So one I've talked about before is is Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. The second book in the series is on my oldest on my Goodreads TBR, and this one I have started. I didn't add it to Goodreads. I started it. I don't know how I feel about it. It's YA, paranormal, urban fantasy, and I don't know if I'm feeling the YA-ness, so I started it and then I haven't come back to it very often. So I might switch out to a different series, and that is the Sleepless series by Nancy Kress, for which I would need to reread Beggars in Spain. This is an amazing book. When I read this, I was blown away, but the book I need to read is the third in the series, so I need to reread Beggars in Spain, and then Beggars and Choosers, which is the second book, which is on audio from my library, which is not my best thing to read audio from the library. I don't read a lot of fiction in audiobook, but it would be a huge win to finish the series, and it's only a trilogy. The Castor Chronicles is 4 books, so this is only 3. Maybe I should go with this one. I don't know. So so I haven't decided one of these two I should read, because they're both prereqs for the oldest on my Goodreads TBR. Will I get to them? I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully. I don't know. Anyway, possibilities are good. What else are we talking about? I do also have some social reading that I want to do. And participate in. There is the Autumn Amour readathon, which is a romance readathon. Both Berna from Berna's Bookish Bingo and Sarah from The Bookish Knitter Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures. I participated in her bingo in August, but it's Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventure. I'm sorry, Berna. And also Sarah from The Bookish Knitter. They are both co-hosts in Autumn Amour. I'll put more information for it down below. It is a month-long readathon, and every week there are sort of this or that picks, and so I think it's the first week is historical versus contemporary, so you need to read either historical or contemporary, and there are those kinds of prompts throughout the month. I'm not promising to read correctly in the month at the different times, but most books follow into one of the this or that, which is great. When I saw how they were doing it, I'm like, that's so smart. It makes participation so easy. So if you have something, generally speaking, it will fit. And so I have a couple of titles that I hope to get into the mix. The first is The Pirate's Reckless Touch by Linda Skye. This is a Harlequin Undone, so it is a romance, it's a historical, and it's also a novella. The Undones are all novellas, and I'm working my way through all of the ones that the library has, and it's been really, really great. Romance novellas have been really working for me, so I'm just sort of sticking with that for now. And I don't think I've read a pirate romance, so I am looking forward to that. So we're gonna try that. I think it's also a Christmas one. It does say A Scandalous Regency Christmas, so. And the second one that I picked out is actually The Sweetest Christmas by Michelle Willingham. The second week, the prompt is sweet versus spicy. So this at least has sweet in the title. I don't know if it'll be sweet. Usually Michelle Willingham's works are spicy, so we'll see if this one is too. So apparently I'm reading 2 Christmas novellas for Autumn Amour. I'm really happy about that, because one of my goals this year is not to do any seasonal reading. So reading the Christmas books now is perfect. It will actually help me meet my goals to do that. I also would like to participate in Di from Diocese 19's Monochrome Manga Club. I haven't checked what the titles are for September. I'll leave her announcement video up above, which is the titles are always announced in the discussion from the previous month. I thought that made sense. I will leave the video up above and down below. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet and see if the titles are available. I did enjoy The Beauty and the Beast of Paradise Lost, which I read last month, which was one of the 2 selections for last month. I really loved the art. It was quite dark and creepy. I didn't understand everything, but it was quite it was quite interesting. And my library has at least one more book volume in the manga series, so I do plan on continuing that. I forgot to add it here. Whoops. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to checking out, seeing what the selections are for September and if they are available to me. So I really hope so. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So sorry, Di. I'm looking forward to watching your video on both the Beauty and Beast of Paradise Lost. The other one I didn't have access to. So, but yeah, so that's something to look forward to. And I do hope to continue some series. I've been doing sort of like pick and stick this year. So any series that I have enjoyed enough to want to continue, I have decided to sort of just stick with it. Even if I, I don't know. If it doesn't have to be like the best thing ever, but if I'm enjoying it enough to want to know how it's going to go, I'm continuing with it because I think less decisions, the better. I don't know. Is that anyway? Oh gosh, I'm rambling a little bit. Anyway, so that has been my philosophy. If I'm enjoying a series enough to want to continue, I just continue it. I don't even think too much about it. So I've been continuing on in the Devil's Line series. This is a manga series. It's oh gosh, I think it must be a seinen. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is seinen. Most of the ones I tend to read that and enjoy over a long period of time are. I'm not quite sure why. Anyway, but this one is sort of, I would say it's a bit more of a thriller. It follows devils, which have sort of like vampire type qualities to it, and there is a bit, there's a sort of long thread romance, but there's also sort of like some conspiracy and because whether they're not totally known to the public, and some of them are on the police force, and then like, but there are some groups that are really against the devils, so there's some political machinations goings on. I'm not sure how to say that. I don't know if it's a choice, if it's an accent, or if it's a, not sure. I've heard machinations. It's a machine. Mechanics? No, but it's MAC. Anyway, not a pronunciation expert here. Anyway, so because there is that sort of element to it, and there's some sort of like espionage elements to it, I have sort of lost the thread in sort of like who's who, but I am determined to finish it. I'm reading number 12 right now, and there are 14, and it is a complete series if I remember correctly. So I am enjoying it, and I will continue it. I'm also continuing to read the Star Wars Adventures in Wild Space series. This is a 6-book series plus a prequel. Randomly picked up book number 2 from the library in the summer. It's a kid's series about 2 siblings who are, just have adventures. There's a long-standing plot about trying to find someone, and they, meet lots of people, and, who do you trust, who do you not trust, and there's, different sort of little battles and different creatures, and it's great. I'm really enjoying it. It's not great, I wouldn't say that. It's enjoyable. It's very Star Wars. A lot of the things that happen are things that happen in Star Wars in terms of like how things are resolved and who they run into and some of the phrases and stuff like that. But I am enjoying it, so I am sticking with it. I have 2 to go, The Cold and then the whatever the finale is. I don't remember what it's called. I'm also continuing to read Baby Mouse. I've actually already read Puppy Love. Go me. Yay. And I'm just going to try and read anything that's available from the library. I think there's only about 4 or 5 left that are available on Overdrive. So whenever those holds come in, I am going to read them. It's just such a cute, wonderful series. I'm not going to finish it this year because some of them aren't part of Overdrive. I guess I could request some. Maybe I'll use some of my I only get 1 recommend a month, so maybe I'll recommend one. But yeah, really fun kids graphic novel. Baby Mouse is a great character. She's very adventurous and has wonderful daydreams and plans and adventures. And yeah, I love it. Also reading Catstronauts. This is another one that I got from the physical library and then found out that they are on Overdrive. I need to read this one next, which is Space Station Situation. It is the 3rd book in the series, and it is, I think it's 6 books long. I'm not sure. These have really long holds, so again, whenever they come in, I will read them. The 3rd one I do have in right now. Then I also do want to continue on the Wonder Woman series. This is the 2011 11 run of the series. I did also have this on my August TBR, but I didn't make any progress, so I'm really hoping to progress on it in September. So I haven't loved it, to be honest, but I do hope to, at some point, the author changes and the author is a woman, and I wanted to read Wonder Woman written by a woman, and so I'm not there yet. I think I need to read one more, and then I get to the one that's written by the woman, so that written by a woman. So that was the plan there. I do have a couple of nonfiction works. I'm gonna start. I haven't started. A lot of these are series continuations, but I am gonna, or rereads. Oh my goodness, anything new? Was there anything new? Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm sure there was. Soul Taken, series continuation. Anyway, it doesn't matter. These are books I want to read. It doesn't matter. They could be all rereads, and that's totally fine. So anyway, for nonfiction, I'm going to pick up The Disappearing Dictionary by David Crystal. Yeah. A Treasury of Lost English Dialect Words. Okay, so let's just pick one. Oh. No, let's not pick that one. Sorry. Oh, sometimes. Jounce. Okay, this is a verb. It says Essex, Norfolk, Suffolk. I'm probably not pronouncing those right. Anyway, jounce, verb. In gardening, to rake very fine. I've jounced that flower border all over. The word could also mean to rock a child in a cradle, as in, she jounced the babe on her knee. And this suggests a phonetic source as it echoes other words with a meaning of sudden movement as like bounce, flounce, pounce, and trounce. So that is your word of the day, jounce. And I apologize if I pronounced those locations incorrectly. So yeah, so I have not read a sort of lexicon for quite some time. I know that they get stuck on my currently reading. I know that this happens. But I don't think there is one on it right now, which means it's time. And I love stuff like this. I really do. It takes me a long time to read, and that's fine. I don't want to read a whole dictionary in a month, so who knows? I probably won't. I'll probably finish this by the end of next year, and that's fine. I like words. I like learning about words, and that was actually really fun. And now I'm like, oh, I started something in the middle. It's fine. I can read it backwards if I want to. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so this is one of my nonfiction picks, and then I am going to continue some other books that I have already started, including We Were Dreamers by Simu Liu. I've talked about this before. He is the star of Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, the Marvel movie, as well as what he was on, Kim's Convenience. And I'm really enjoying this. It's very conversational and a lot of fun. I also am reading this one. I don't think I've talked about this one before, Color Problems, a practical manual for the lay student of color by Emily Noyes Vanderpool. And this one my sister Jamie got me, and it is fabulous. And it's from like 1915, I think, and it's color theory. 1901. So it is like very technical in terms of color theory, and I love color, but it also has fantastic plates in terms of color. Like I think about half of it is plates. And I've only just gotten to the explanation of this, which is about sort of color balancing. Oh, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. I love thinking about color and how color works and how we see color and how and why we respond to things and why colors respond to each other. Because some of it really is scientific. Like some of it really is how the colors work and how the eye works. And then there also is like, how do we respond to things and I don't know. And then also the limitations of the medium, right? Like there are how I would love to learn more about how pigment is created and you can, I think you can, especially now digitally, you can create any color, but in terms of historically, how they created color was within certain methods, and they had certain colors, and it meant certain, like, I'm sure, I don't know this, well, I imagine it, like, what you had access to also, I imagine would indicate your resources, right? I'm sure some colors were harder to come by and therefore maybe used less. This doesn't go into sort of that element of it, but I I love color. I do. I love it so much. I love working with it. I love using like anything with color, and yeah, so whether it's, you know, art stuff or clothing or shows like Gunpowder Milkshake, one of the films that I watched recently. I talked about it in one of my videos, which I'll leave up above. One of the things I loved about that was the use of color. There were so many, it used a lot of bright colors, we don't see that often, but it's just like, there's some movies that just, and there's one, we don't think I've talked about it before, Shadow. No, I don't think it's going to be in the art house film, which I haven't I watched a bunch of sort of art house film, and I haven't actually filmed a video about it yet. But the film Shadow, it looks like it's in black and white, but it's actually filmed in color. And every once in a while, there's sort of like a pop of red. But generally speaking, when you're looking at it, like the clothing, the settings, generally speaking, it looks like black and white. It's extraordinary. The film itself, like the plot and wasn't my favorite. Like it was tough. It had some tough characters, and I found some of it a little confusing. But my goodness gracious, it was a work of art, like an absolute work of art. Anyway, I could obviously talk about color forever, so I'm going to leave this because this is my September TBR, not how Shannon feels about color. So anyway, those are some of the books that I plan to read this month, or I hope to read this month. Some of them, as I said, are a bit more, you know, if I get to it. I think working on the series has been really, really helpful for me to just go to the next book if I'm enjoying something. And I think it is working because I'm getting close to the end of several series. And so wish me luck on finishing Mercy Thompson in time. That I do really enjoy the books, but I haven't read, I think the last one I read last summer for one of the currently reading projects, but I think I finished it in a week, so that bodes well. I do tend to really, really love urban fantasy, and I haven't read a lot this year. It's like my favorite genre in terms of fiction, and I don't read it that much. I don't understand that. I gotta figure that one out. Haven't figured it out yet, but one's on my TBR, so I will be reading it, so I don't need to worry about it because I'm gonna read it. So there you go. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna read this month. Let me know. Do you know what you're reading this month? Do you plan? Does having a list of what to read help? Because I think that's one of the real reasons why I did do a TBR this month. Is I just feel like if I have something to look at, to reference, to pick from a list, I think it'll be really, really helpful. Do you do that? Do you find it helpful to have a list to pick from? Let me know. I hope you are having a wonderful September so far, and that I hope that you have a wonderful month ahead. All right, I will be back soon in another video. Thanks for watching.